Where's Maggie?
Come on up, guys.
Sure. Let's get everybody in. Ready? Okay, everybody in position here? Okay, ready to go? Okay. Ready to go? Good morning, everyone. My name is Robert Carroll. I'm the Morris County Prosecutor. We're gathered here today to announce a breakthrough development in the unsolved 1984 homicide of a baby girl known as Baby Mary. The parents of the deceased baby have been identified, and a juvenile delinquency complaint has been filed in the case. For those who are unaware, This dates back to December 24th, 1984, at approximately 10:35 a.m. Two boys reported finding a deceased newborn in a remote wooded area off of Mount Pleasant Road in Mendham Township. Law enforcement officers located a baby girl's body inside of a plastic bag wrapped in a towel. At the time of her discovery, the baby girl's umbilical cord was still attached. The medical examiner would ultimately determine that the baby girl had been alive at the time of her birth and was less than 24 hours old at the time of her death. The death was ruled a homicide. The identity of the baby girl and her parents were then unknown. The Mendham Township and the greater community mourned the little girl. She was baptized by Reverend Michael Drury of St. Joseph's Church, the Mendham Township Police Department chaplain, who gave her the name Mary. Mendham Township never forgot baby Mary, and neither did Morris County law enforcement. Over the next nearly 4 decades, investigators have vigorously pursued every lead to identify baby Mary and learn more about the circumstances leading to her discovery in the woods. Using new technology, law enforcement networking in 3 states, and old-fashioned police work, investigators were recently able to identify baby Mary's mother and father. The biological father passed away prior to being identified by investigators. There is no evidence the biological father was aware of baby Mary's birth or death. The biological mother of baby Mary was a juvenile at the time she gave birth to baby Mary in 1984. On April 24th, 2023, this past April, a juvenile delinquency complaint was filed against the biological mother of baby Mary. She has been charged with 1 count of manslaughter, an offense which, if it was committed by an adult, would be a second-degree crime. Since the woman was a juvenile at the time of baby Mary's death and has been charged by way of a juvenile complaint, her name will not be released. The arrest is the culmination of decades of effort across multiple generations of law enforcement. It is a tribute to the tenacity and the dedication of the Morris County Prosecutor's Office, our Major Crimes Unit, Morris County Sheriff's Office, and the Mendham Township Police Department for the resolution of this matter. I'd specifically like to acknowledge the work of several personnel who participated in this case. Morris County Prosecutor's Office Deputy Chief Jan Michael Monrad, Lieutenant Michael Gomez, Sergeant Sasha Gould, Sergeant Matthew Magnone, Detective Dakota Keyworth, and Chief Assistant Prosecutor Christopher Shellhorn, who headed the investigation, along with Morris County Sheriff James Gannon, Under Sheriff Mark Spitzer, and Detective Rosie Brown. The Mendham Township Police Department, who played a pivotal role in the case, Chief Ross Johnson, Mendham Township Lieutenant Steve Bittman, Sergeant Matthew Ambrosi, and Detective James Arneson. Forensic Science Christine Scheckler of the New Jersey State Police of Forensic Services and her team, who helped in the DNA analysis. The death and abandonment of this baby girl is a tragic loss, and even after 40 years, remains just as heartbreaking. Justice may not take the form the public has imagined all these years, but we believe this juvenile delinquency complaint, justice is being served for baby Mary. Nothing can right this terrible wrong. Thanks to the men and women who worked so diligently in this case, we hope the community is given a sense of closure. While technology is certainly vital to modern police work, contemporary police work, the solving of this case represents an excellent example of law enforcement cooperation among New Jersey county, municipal, and state agencies, as well as the FBI and our colleagues in other states, all which effectively use the technology in conjunction with good, solid police work, day after day, and in this case, year after year. We thank our law enforcement agency partners, Chief Ross Johnson in the Mendham Police Department, Morris County Sheriff's Office Criminal Investigation Division, CSI, and Crime Lab sections, the New Jersey State Police, Office of Forensic Sciences, the State Police Forensic Serology Unit and DNA Laboratory, the Morris County Medical Examiner's Office, and our interstate colleagues from Richland County, South Carolina, Sheriff's Department, Criminal Investigation Division, and Deputy Chief Stan Smith, the 5th Judicial Circuit in South Carolina, Solicitor's Office, the Cape Coral, Florida Police Department, Fort Myers, Florida Police Department, and the FBI, Without that interagency cooperation, this case would not have been solved. Before we take a few questions, Sheriff Gannon would like to make a few remarks and explain the Safe Haven Infant Protection Act, which is highly relevant today. Sheriff?
Thank you, Prosecutor. Good morning. As the prosecutor said, this case was solved because of three important aspects. Partnerships. Chief Johnson is the president of the Morris County Police Chiefs Association. With Prosecutor Carroll and I meet formally with Chief Johnson and the chiefs in Morris County. Our relationship is a solid one, and we work together with a unified front because of that rapport. The second piece is technology. As you've heard, these types of cases are now solvable because of the science and individual uniqueness of DNA. And last piece, as you see standing up here, and if you heard from the prosecutor, shoe leather. It's old-fashioned footwork and investigative tenacity led the Morris County Prosecutor's Office, the Mendham Township Police Department, the Morris County Sheriff's Office investigators, and investigators across the United States. And their persistence certainly did pay off. I'd like to pay special attention to Detective Rosie Brown, who is assigned to the Sheriff's Office Cold Case Unit. Her work on this investigation, as well as the members of the Morris County Sheriff's Office Criminal Investigations Division, CSI, and Crime Lab section who contributed to this solution. Today, a frightened and anxious mother-to-be has the safer and just alternative of bringing a baby to a haven and surrendering it for help and medical assistance. In fact, now, since just last week, she can herself go to a hospital for medical care in its delivery and do the same. This protects the health of both the child and the mother, and also protects the anonymity of the woman. My hope is that while at a hospital, an often young and worried mother could also be surrounded by other available services at a very vulnerable point in her life. I want young parents to know today there is help available. In 1984, the Safe Infant Protection Act did not exist. On August 7, though, 2000, the act became law, and it was sponsored by the late Senator Anthony Bucco. The legislation allows parents or their representatives to anonymously surrender a newborn baby at any hospital, emergency room, police station, fire station, ambulance, first aid, or rescue squad that is staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If the baby appears to be 30 days old or less and free of any abuse or neglect, the baby will be accepted with no questions asked. This is about no shame, no blame, and no names. Also, the Morris County Sheriff's Office has Hope One, Hope Hub, and Community Connections, various programs that can assist infants and children if they need assistance. We make calls to Child and Family Services, what we call DCP&P in New Jersey, and Head Start. So I want to just finally say, I want to pay special attention to the county prosecutor here, Bob Carroll, who's quarterbacked this investigation from its inception. When he came into office, looking at these cold cases, and now we can see where we stand here today, and I really owe him a lot of gratitude for that, and also Chief Johnson, for that matter. They've done a great job, and please keep baby Mary in your hearts and prayers. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Ross Johnson, as the sheriff has mentioned, is also the president of the Morris County Chiefs Association, and he has some remarks about the case, which obviously his department has been involved with for over 40 years. Chief.
Thank you, Mr. Prosecutor. Thank you, Sheriff. Reiterate some of the things that were said, but for the past 39 years, the Mendham Township Police Department has pursued this investigation relentlessly to solve this case. Not for the hard work and dedication of our officers who have worked this case over the years, this case would be unsolved, including Chief Tom Costanza, who was the initial investigator on the case over the year of 1983 and 1984. 9 years ago, our past Chief Stephen Crawford called for a re-examination of the Baby Mary case for its upcoming 30th anniversary. Our officers, alongside with our crucial partners at the County Prosecutor's Office, the County Sheriff's Office, would pursue many leads and investigative avenues, eventually bringing justice for this infant that never had a chance to fight for herself. This has been a great example of law enforcement collaboration in this county, and I want to thank everyone involved. Special thank you to Prosecutor Carroll and Sheriff Gannon for your unwavering support and dedication to this important case for our community. I also want to commend all of our current and former Mendham Township police officers who investigate or work this case in one fashion or another that helped us get us here today, as well as Father Michael Drury, who made baby Mary a part of our community and department over 30 years ago. Every Christmas Eve for the past 35 years, members of our community and our department leave their families at 12 noon to go remember her at her graveside, so she is never forgotten. Today, we are finally able to bring closure to this case and the community that has supported her and will continue to support her. Lastly, I would like to personally thank a couple people. Detective James Arneson from my agency, Lieutenant Steve Bittman, and Lieutenant Mike Gomez, who has been by our side starting 9 years ago from day one and got us here. That being said, great work by everybody here. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, my department, and our community. Thank you.
Okay, understanding that this is a juvenile case and there's legal restrictions on what we can say about it at this point, we can entertain a few questions. Sir.
Just for clarity's sake, are we correct that the mother lives or lived in Florida at the time? And how does it work when so she was arrested in April, is she in custody now?
No, she is not.
Because she was a minor at the time?
The mother and the father at the time of the homicide were both residents of Morris County. She is a resident of South Carolina, and she was traced down to South Carolina where she was arrested at that point.
But she is not?
She is not a resident of New Jersey, and she's been to court, and she is currently being monitored at this point. She is not in custody.
Can you talk about the technology? You did mention it. I mean, in 1984 they collected DNA differently than they do now.
Right.
Talk about the technology. What was used to get you to this particular point?
Again, I'm somewhat limited, but I can say this. DNA of the father. Okay, well, let me start. DNA of the baby obviously was taken at the time of the discovery. DNA analysis led investigators to an identification of the father. Thereafter, literally running down hundreds, if not thousands, of leads led to an identification of the mother. Both the father and the mother have been verified through DNA as being the proper mother and father. No question on that.
What was the mother's reaction?
Again, she was taken into custody. That's about as far as I want to go.
I know you said that they were juveniles, but how old were they?
Mother was 17 at the time.
And she's still facing charges, to be clear.
Oh, yeah.
Though she was 17 at the time,
Yes.
39
years ago.
years ago.
Yes.
She would still face charges today.
She is facing charges right now. She's been charged with manslaughter in a juvenile complaint.
So how much time, I mean, since it's juvenile, how much time would that take?
Of course, that's up to a judge. The exposure on it would be up to 3 years. It's again because it's the recklessness of the conduct and so forth constituting the manslaughter offense.
Can you provide, you can't say where in Morris County that the couple was located at the time?
I'm sorry?
You can't say where the couple lived in Morris County at the time?
No, I would just say they lived in Morris County at this point, just for privacy reasons. Again, it's a juvenile matter.
Can you provide any information on why she left the baby there?
No, I cannot.
Were any sites similar to like Ancestry.com used to track track down the parents?
Again, that gets into the technical parts of the investigation, and until the investigation is completed, I can't disclose anything of the steps. I can confirm, though, that DNA was used on both the father and the mother to confirm it.
And you said the father was unaware at the time of the incident. Has the father's family had any reaction to these developments in recent months?
The father has passed away.
Knowing that,
Okay.
because his family, I mean, I would assume other people in his circle would.
We received cooperation.
Do we know how old the father was at the time of the birth?
I believe it was 18. 19, I'm sorry, 19, yes.
And when did the father pass away, do you know?
2009 was quite a while ago.
Was did the arrest, was it conducted by your office?
Yes, our office in conjunction with, it was actually a multi-state effort, but it was conducted in conjunction with the Richland County Police Department, Sheriff's Department down there, as well as our officers who traveled down there and worked in South Carolina.
What
So
was,
did they go to Florida and then, sorry, Sashi,
Yeah.
and then South Carolina? That's how.
There was coverage in different states, okay, I could say that, both Florida, South Carolina.
what was her demeanor? Was she remorseful at the time of the arrest? Was she surprised?
Again, sir, she was taken into custody, that's about as far as I can go on it, thank you.
Was the mother in school at the time,
Yes,
in the area?
yes.
Does this arrest give you hope for any of the other currently unsolved cases involving infants in the county?
Yes. Well, in the county, I'm not sure. We have to look at each case individually. But this type of technology, and I have to say this and repeat this, the technology is obviously vital to these type of cases, especially the ones that are decades old. But it's the work of the detectives and the assistant prosecutors that are pressing these cases. And frankly, in this case in particular, Mendham Township Police Department, the cooperation here is in conjunction with that technology. Either of those individually is not going to make this case. Together, they can. And to answer your question, yes, those type of cooperative efforts are what myself and other leaders in law enforcement are fostering, because it's just so important that we work together.
Does anyone have any idea of how many children have been rescued under the safe law?
I don't know, Sheriff, do you know that? I don't have that statistic available right now.
I want to say 88.
Okay.
And that's
88?
in the county alone?
No,
Statewide?
no, not in the county, statewide program.
Statewide, that would be it. Okay.
Any other cases that you might have out there that may be similar to this that you're looking at this point?
We have other cold cases, yes, that we are looking at. In fact, we're also part of a Attorney General and State Police Task Force on cold cases, which covers the northern region. So cold cases are getting a lot of attention now. This case, however, though, has always been under the scrutiny of our office in the Mendham Township Police Department and the Sheriff's Office. It remained under review. I can tell you when I first took office 3 years ago, this is one of the cases that was identified to me that was under pursuit at the time. We were optimistic about, and that optimism has obviously paid off. And again, the work of the detectives. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all. Thank you all for coming today. Sure. Anything else?